Martin Kennedy, I think the answer, to my knowledge, the answer is no, I have no knowledge. I think what we're finding out is he's not from this area, which of course raises the bigger question is, how does a guy from not here get all the way to Trump International, realize that the president, former president of the United States, is golfing and is able to get a rifle in that vicinity? I think that's the question the FBI, the Secret Service are laser focused on today. Is this guy part of a conspiracy? Is he a lone gunman? If he's a lone gunman, President Trump is that much safer because we have him. But if he's part of a conspiracy, then this whole thing really takes on a very ominous tone.
And Sheriff, you mentioned the witness.
I'm very bad at Morgan Freeman. That was supposed to be Morgan Freeman. He was, in fact, part of a conspiracy. This guy, first of all, you can always tell the cops in Florida are all from New York. Making a lot of sense, I guess, but this is all, at this point, common sense. How in the hell does a guy who seemingly lives in Hawaii, who told Tulsi Gabbard that she's a disgrace to Hawaii, there's records of apparently his property, a $1 million property in Hawaii, which I say non-judgmentally, just logistically, a man with a $1 million property in Hawaii ending up in Ukraine, promoting the Azov battalion and appearing in one of their promotional videos, trying to recruit foreigners to go fight in Ukraine, ends up in Florida, knows exactly where Trump is going to be on a Sunday afternoon, and has either an AK-47 or an SVS. I'm going to get to the gun discussion in a bit. Not my wheelhouse. Well, lone gunman, how the hell did he get there with that information? We're going to talk about all of this today. Or was he part of a broader conspiracy? And in the humble opinion of this narrator, he was, in fact, part of a broader conspiracy. Good morning. And before we even get too far into this, we need to get a bell, people. Ding, 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 ding. The Modern Stoic donated, which I think means you've become a member of our vivabarneslaw.locals.com community. Modern Stoic, welcome to the above average community. Although everybody watching right now is above average. But in our vivabarneslaw.locals.com community, everyone there is supremely above average. Okay, now my tongue still hurts, by the way, so I might be lisping a little bit and struggling to swallow, and I'll have a little more of a lispy lisp than usual. Good morning, people. Holy hell. Like, it doesn't end. I am dreaming about global events. Like, it's probably not healthy, but there's no choice. There will be time to sleep when we are all dead. Oh my goodness. No, it's almost overwhelming, but life is overwhelming. When I was practicing law was overwhelming. I would dream about cases. I would wake up at 3 a.m, sweating, thinking I forgot to sign a document, forgot about a court appearance that I had. It was all encompassing, all engrossing, and yes, overwhelming to the point where you wake up one day and you say, I just can't do it anymore. This, on the other hand, A, no choice, and B, I wouldn't choose anything different. But yeah, it's a little overwhelming because the world is going to we're 5 minutes in? No, we're 3 minutes in. The world's going to hell in a handbasket. So I will not drop the SH word. Before we get started, share the link around, people. We should be live across all of the various planes of the interwebs, but let me make sure. Are we live on Rumble? Going to refresh, hit that little plug-in so I can see the chat. Okay, we are live there. Are we live on vivabarneslaw.com? We are, but I can hear that I'm not on the good mic, so let me just go ahead and fix that up. Oh, yeah, there we go. Now we've got the good mic, people. He was, in fact, the broad of a bigger conspiracy, bro. All right, we're good there, and we're good on Twitter, but I don't really care to check that. We're good where it matters, people. We may or may not at some point go exclusively over to Rumble today. Certainly, we will have our locals after party. And obviously, look, the topic of the day is that we could talk about stuff that A, is not that interesting, and B, not in the news. We're talking about the Trump assassination par deux, if I can quote that Robin Hood Men in Tights, part 2. I'm sitting here trying to keep up with each and every single angle of this. We've got an amazing community over on Locals, and one of them right now is showing me exactly what I was going to talk about, that the shooter apparently was convicted of, what was it again? Possession of weapons of mass destruction. And I think it was a machine gun back in, what year was it? Back a Class F felony, and I think it's from the year 2000. And so how is this individual able to procure a firearm, the specific identification of which is still being debated? We're going to get to all of this. But what we're going to get to first is thanking our sponsors of the show, voting with our feet, voting with our dollar, and voting with our eyeballs. And more important than anything, taking care of our physical health and taking care of our financial health. And we're going to start with our physical health, people. A medical test can reveal your body's biological age, which can show if you are aging prematurely. Better nutrition has been shown to reverse one's bio age. My hope of living longer and healthier is why I take Field of Greens. Just I want everybody to look at me for a second. I don't care if I look old. I'm 45. I'm actually the year of the Trump, as we say. I'm 45. I know I look at people and I see deadness in their eyes and I say, holy cows, when I look at the Dan Goldmans of the world, when I look at the Adam Schiffs and his buggy eyes, they scare the living bejesus out of me. I want to not look young. I don't care what I look like. I just want to look, healthy. So you tell me if I look healthy. I went for a jog with my wife and kid this morning. I'm going to go for a bike ride this afternoon. Bottom line, you got to exercise. You got to eat healthy. Field of Greens is an organic superfood with fruits and vegetables unlike any other. It's serious nutrition. Listen to this. Field of Greens was approved for a university study that doctors believe may lower your body's biological age. That generally means better health. Each fruit and vegetable in Field of Greens was chosen specifically by doctors for specific vital functions of the body: heart, liver, kidneys, metabolism, immune system. Only Field of Greens is backed by the Better Health Promise. At your next physical or checkup, your doctor will notice improved health or your money back. Join me for better health. 15% off and free shipping. Go to fieldofgreens.com. Use promo code VIVA. Fieldofgreens.com. Promo code VIVA. Eat healthy, exercise, swap out the unhealthy habits for the good, healthy habits. Field of Greens, 1 spoonful twice a day. It's delicious, and it will keep you healthy and make you healthier if you're not yet there. Now, physical health, financial health, people. You got to protect in your future, and you got to cover your ace, people. It's no secret that we live in uncertain and volatile times. The dollar is collapsing and faith in our monetary systems are at an all-time low, while inflation is skyrocketing. It's down to 3% after 2 years of massive inflation. It's wonderful, wonderful. Pat yourself on the back, you. Bite inflation, just inflation. No one has a crystal ball when it comes to the future, and the truth is that no one really knows what's going to happen, but it's really important to protect yourself financially. I give myself insurance by investing in hard physical assets like gold and silver. Historically, gold and silver have been one of the safest investments, and it allows me to hedge my bets against runaway inflation. I urge you to take a closer look at protecting yourself and your investments. I personally trust the fine folks at Monetary Gold. They're legit. They'll take care of you. You can roll your IRA into gold and silver. Tell them I sent you. For a limited time, they'll give you $5,000 of free gold and silver for qualified purchases. Sleep well at night knowing you're protected. Give Monetary Gold a call. 800-476-1303. 800-476-1303. And the third time, so that it really sinks in, 1-800-476-1303, or go to monetarygold.com. And legal disclaimers, obviously, past performance is no promise for the future, but past tends to be prologue. And you can compare the value of gold over the history of humankind. I was looking for my silver tetradrachma to show everybody, and I can't find it, which is making me very nervous. I don't know where my silver tetradrachma is. I hope I didn't lose it. I very much like that thing. I didn't lose it. It's somewhere in there. All righty. Let's get started, everybody. Share the link. Spread the word. Make sure that you are subscribed if you're not already doing it. So not when you're chasing stories. There's no chasing a story here. The stories, the news is being thrust upon us. And as you have a social media platform and you reach a lot of people, it's thrust back onto you like on steroids. Because people have questions. You have a network of people that you can trust in order to find answers to the questions. And you have a network that is constantly delivering you information, some of which is accurate, some of which is not necessarily accurate. And so in addition to trying to know what's true and what's not, you got to make sure not to retweet the wrong thing. Like, it was just a shooting in the vicinity between two unrelated people and a bunch of jackasses. Ed Krasenstein, I'm looking at one of you, taking to Twitter in the early minutes before anybody knows jack squat. They're out there saying, I just saw on the New York Post. I think it was the New York Post or the New York, one of the New York magazines. Oh, it was just a shooting in the vicinity between two unrelated people. I'm like, all right, dummy, maybe wait 5 minutes. Like, you don't have to be the first to write off the second failed assassination attempt on Donald Trump by spewing nonsense, because you can't wait 15 minutes for more news to pull in. There's a few people who did it. Learn from your mistakes and make yourself better. My phone starts blowing up, not physically, gets a little hot because of all the text messages I'm getting in. And everyone's like, Viva, have you heard another assassination attempt? I'm like, yep, I heard. Waiting for more news because I too heard, unrelated shooting in the vicinity of. And the reason why I didn't immediately, jump on one wagon or the other is because when I was in Milwaukee for the RNC, and as I parked the car one day and went in with the kids and my wife, and we're, trying to find an access point to the RNC convention center, we parked in a very, very sketchy part of town where I said, holy crab apples, if it weren't for this massive police presence, I wouldn't be caught parking here in a million years. And as we're walking in, I said, I bet you a lot of shit goes down here when there's not a lot of police around. And go through the checkpoint, I asked the cops, like, is this area safe? And he's like, yeah, not really, but with all the cops, yeah. Then I go into the convention center. The next day, there's news of a shooting right outside the perimeter. It's like, oh, I'm inclined to jump to conclusions, but you hold off for a second. And lo and behold, it was a cop shooting a knife-wielding homeless person who apparently was engaged in a knife fight with another homeless person. So it does happen that there are coincidences and that you might have a shooting in the vicinity of the Trump golf course on Mar-a-Lago between gang members. I don't know. Could be. Whoever retweeted that out looks awful stupid right now. And the defense is, well, nobody knew anything. Nobody knows anything. Don't tweet it out. We now know it was a second failed assassination attempt I'm going to say in as many months, because I've always liked that phraseology. I never understood what it meant. Like, it's the second attempt in as many weeks. It's like, what does that mean? It's the second failed assassination attempt on Donald Trump in 2 months. Yesterday was September 15. The last one was July 13. This one was not quite as close as the last one, but only in terms of execution, not in terms of conception or concept. This is a dude. We're going to get into who the dude was, allegedly. And I say allegedly because I'm not trying to be defamation proof. I say allegedly because Steelman it, they might have identified the wrong person. The entire social media account of this dude who traveled to Ukraine, recruiting people, gave interviews to Newsmax, might not be the guy that they arrested. It might not be. They've been identified as the same person. His social media has now been wiped clean. Luckily, I got my screen video on Twitter, and Billboard Chris, I believe, got it on Facebook. Might be a different person. There might be two, whatever this guy's name is, Ryan Ruths out there. But by and large, it looks like they arrested the guy who did the thing. They've named the guy who did the thing. The guy who they've named who allegedly did the thing also was allegedly out in Ukraine, being featured in Azov propaganda videos, trying to recruit Afghani soldiers to fight in Ukraine, had one hell of a unhinged Twitter feed. And so we know a little bit more now, thanks to the internet sleuthing, that we've gotten a bit more to the truth. Now, who do we start this? How do we start this structurally to get this going? I'm going to start by playing. Let's start and finish this segment by playing this wonderful clip of Kamala Harris. Let me just go back here. How do I escape here? Here's a video of Kamala Harris promoting violence. She belongs in jail. That's my tweet, and I believe it. Listen to this. This is a clip. This is I remember this in the early days of COVID, because this was around the time of the BLM riots, where you might recall Kamala Harris raising funds to bail out violent criminals from prison, from jail. And Stephen Colbert, that unfunny, soulless hack. If I ever look like this guy, look at those. That's the eyes of the devil. That's the eyes of a soulless demon. If I ever look like that, someone's got to tell me. Please tell me politely, and I might get offended. And then I'm going to have to internalize it and figure out what's going on inside me that makes me look like a soulless devil. But listen to this.
So even what some might call weak tea proposals by the Republicans right now wouldn't be happening if there weren't these protests in the
I'm
streets.
sure of it. I'm sure of it. I'm sure of it. And it's tragic because the reality is that these protests have been happening in maybe smaller form for generations, but let's just look at where we are right now and acknowledge, to your point, yeah, had these protests, had people by the hundreds of thousands not been out there marching, many who might be relatives of those very people who have been obstructionists until now, we probably wouldn't be where we are. But again, back to where we are, what the Republicans are proposing is by many accounts, and certainly by my account, absolutely insufficient to meet this moment. And we need to go with the justice and policing bill.
And I want to make clear that I know that there are protests still happening in major cities across the United States. I'm just not seeing the reporting on it that I had.
That's right.
For the first few weeks.
Yes, there's protests.
But they're not going to stop.
They're not going to stop. They're not going to stop.
This is a movement. I'm telling you, they're not going to stop. And everyone beware.
Everyone beware.
They're not going to stop. They're not going to stop before Election Day in November, and they're not going to stop after Election Day. And that should be, everyone should take note of that on both levels.
We're coming for you,
they're not going to let up, and they should not. And we should not.
Senator, we have,
I want to go back here. They're not going to stop. I'm going to count it. Here, I think it starts about here, eh?
In major cities across the United States, I'm just not seeing the reporting.
They're not going to stop.
That I had.
That's right.
For the first few weeks.
That's right. Good protest.
But they're not going to stop. They're not going to stop. And they're not. This is a movement. I'm telling you, they're not going to stop. And everyone beware. Because they're not going to stop. They're not going to stop before Election Day in November, and they're not going to stop after Election Day. And that should be, everyone should take note of that on both levels. That they're not going to let up, and they should not. And we should not.
Do you know what that is, by the way? That's a flipping threat. Period. They're not going to stop the Bolsheviks. They're going to be at your front door. They're not going to stop. Give them your shit. Well, they're not going to stop. 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 I just said it as many times as she did in 10 seconds. So they're not going to stop. In case you thought they were going to stop, they're not going to. We need to tone down the rhetoric, people. The Soros puppets have gotten their talking points in. And I love it because, our brains are made to detect patterns. I mean, for good and for bad. Let me take this out. For good and for bad, our brains were designed to detect patterns. When you notice statistical overrepresentation, you draw pattern-like conclusions. Some people might call it prejudices, depending on the circumstances, and others might just call it pattern recognition. And when I start seeing tweets and I start connecting pattern recognition, I'm like, oh, New York Attorney Letitia James, the woman who's not going to stop until they put Trump behind bars. She's not going to stop if she has to transform her theory from foreign money laundering into defrauding banks. Not going to stop. Oh, yeah. Who was in her case? New York nipple judge Engelron. Political violence in any form cannot be accepted or normalized in this country. I'm fairly certain she was quite vocal. I should have pulled up some more clips of what she had to say about the protests. Political violence in any form cannot be accepted or normalized in this country. From Alex Soros, son of George Soros. I am grateful that Donald Trump is safe. Political violence is never acceptable, and we must unite against it. George Soros' son, Alex Soros, retweeting Hakeem Jeffries, who has spent every day of the last 2.5 years referring to half of America as extreme MAGA Republicans, a threat to democracy, domestic terrorists. Oh, yeah, no, he's come on and says now, political violence has no place in a democratic society. Oh, you notice, by the way, this is a very interesting phraseology. Political violence has no place in a democratic society. America under Hakeem Jeffries ain't no democracy anymore. Therefore, political violence might have a place. Hey, what if it turns out that what Hakeem Jeffries and Marxist, socialist, communist Kamala Harris are proposing is no longer democracy? You'll notice how this sentence, this affirmation, no longer applies. Political violence has no place in a democratic society, but it sure as hell has a place in a Marxist society, in a communist society, in a statist society. But anyhow, say the words, Hakeem. Pull your little strings there. Say the words. Political violence has no place in democratic society. Thank you. Alex Soros tweets it. Who's the next one here? Oh, yes, Vice President Kamala Harris. I am deeply disturbed by the possible assassination attempt. 7 hours old, and this might have been yesterday, so I'll give her the benefit of the doubt on the qualifications, but of former President Trump today. As we gather the facts, I will be clear. You know what comes after the I will be clear? Bullshit. I condemn political violence. Oh. And do you notice the word, by the way, political violence? If I may ask a question, what the hell is political violence? Oh, is the assassination of the president an attempt political violence as opposed to just violence? Hey, political violence is bad. That also leaves a window of opportunity. I condemn political violence. We must do our part to ensure that this incident does not lead to more violence. Do you remember, like, I'm old enough to remember, we're going to go, but I got to do it. I just got to do it right now. I got to do it right now. She condemns political violence.
Beware, because they're not going to stop. They're not going to stop before Election Day in November.
Look at her eyes,
and they're not going to
loves
stop
it.
after election.
She's happy about it.
And that should be, everyone should take note of that on both levels.
We are coming for you, mother effers. We love it. We love the violence. Oh, no. What do I have to do today? I have to say that we condemn political violence. Say the line, Bart. Here, everybody, take the link to that. Link, bada bing. Link, bada boom. Marxism is a political strategy. It's a tactic of war. It's what we're witnessing right now. And I'm old enough to have lived through the first and second flare-ups of violence in Israel. I mean, I'm too young to have lived through the other flare-ups, but Intifada 1, Intifada 2, every time there was a terrorist attack in Israel, and I remember Yasser Arafat, you couldn't get just a flat-out condemnation from the people promoting the violence. It was always, we strongly condemn violence on both sides. Kamala Harris coming out and saying, we got to stop this before this leads to more violence, is a cover your ass and or almost not I say a dog whistle, but that an invitation. Oh, if and when they finally fight back or do something as a reprisal, well then, I told them not to. Okay, we just tried to kill your president twice. Don't you guys think of doing anything stupid, because if you dare even complain about it, we'll call that rhetoric violence inciting, violence inducing. There was another montage which I absolutely have to bring up. Here, this one. They strongly condemn political violence. Listen to this.
I just don't even know why there aren't uprisings all over the country. Maybe there will be.
Political violence.
People need to start taking to the streets. This is a dictator.
You know, there needs to be unrest in the streets for as long as there's unrest in our lives.
Enemies of the state.
Show me where it says that protests are supposed to be polite and peaceful.
Do something about your dad's immigration practices, you feckless.
When they go low, we kick.
How do you resist the temptation to run up and wring her neck?
Biggest terror threat in this country.
White right-wing male.
White men, most of them radicalized right to the right.
I thought he should have punched him in the face. I said, even if you lost, he insulted your wife.
Yes.
He came down the escalator and called Mexicans rapists and murderers. He said, well, what do you think I should have done? I said, I think you should have punched him in the face and then gotten out of the race. You would have been a hero.
I'd like to punch him in the face. I said, if we were in high school, I'd take him behind the gym and
These
beat the hell out of
montages
him.
are so amazing.
Punch some people in the face.
When was the last time an actor assassinated a president?
They're still going to have to go out and put a bullet in Donald Trump, and that's a fact.
We'll stop here. We'll stop here, and I'll give you. I don't know who the original. Got it from Kyle Becker. Let me see if there's. Oh yeah, End Wokeness. But then I don't know who did the original mix-up. Yeah, they condemn political violence today because they didn't get away with it. And then, like all true narcissists, Darvo deny, attack, reverse victim and offender. The nutbag lunatic who has been listening to these batshit crazy, violent promoting politicians and talking heads. The best one there was the Lincoln Project guy, I think, put a bullet in Trump. After watching all of that, some unhinged lunatics decide that he's in fact an existential threat and rationalize to themselves getting whatever gun it was that the guy got, finding out where he's playing golf and hiding there and trying to take him out. You get the other guy there up in Butler. It's amazing. Oh, but it's Trump's rhetoric. Trump's rhetoric is so violent and so insightful, inciting, that it leads to what types of real world violence? You have Jim Scalia's dude who got shot, and the dude who shot up the football field, listening to Bernie Sanders and Rachel Maddow. You got Crooks, nutcase extraordinaire. And now you got this guy. And we know from his Twitter feed, at least what I was able to record, who he was following, what he was listening to, who he was tweeting at, and what phraseology he was tweeting. But they come out after they fail a second. And I'm saying they as the institution of the Democrat Party and the Uni Party, because I don't think it's only Democrats in this. It's a uni-party deep state apparatus that is the they in all of this. They're still investigating the security failures that led to the first shooting, and that they have a second one 2 months later. And why? Because he was playing golf, and according to the sheriff of Broward County, I don't know if it's Broward County up in Mar-a-Lago, whatever. According to the sheriff, he's only a former president. He's not the current president. If he were the president, we would have blocked off the entire golf course. But he wasn't, so he didn't. But we strongly condemn political violence, exactly as we continue to promote political violence day in and day out. And let me see here. I think Hakeem Jeffries, violence insider extraordinaire, was right back at it this morning. Let me bring this one up. Oh, Lordy. Yeah, I'm going to check this out. Hakeem Jeffries, this morning, like didn't even wait 24 hours. Fact check. Extreme MAGA Republicans don't simply have concepts about how to control your life. They have a detailed plan. It's called Project 20. Oh, but that's only policy. No. He's only talking policy, right? Extreme MAGA Republicans want to control your life. What do you do? Oh, no, I'm just, come on, I'm just calling them extremists because I want people to vote. I'm just telling them they're going to ruin their lives because I want them to vote. The day after the second failed assassination attempt, Hakeem Jeffries knows damn well what he's doing, and he's doing it on purpose. But another woman who I guess either knows better or doesn't know better now. Yesterday, defiance. Today, groveling apologies. Hold on. Vindman's wife, people. Let me see if I got this here. Here, I think it's this one. Yeah, I called it the classic terrorist apology. Listen to what Vindman says this, but she slept on it, guys. She realized when she made her. Let's go to the tweets that you may or may not have seen. Here. This was what she tweeted after the second assassination attempt. No ears were harmed. Carry on with your Sunday afternoon. Bear in mind, her husband, what's his first name? Oh, it starts with an A. Alex Vindman? I think it's Alex Vindman. He's running for Congress. He's running for something. I'll get it in a second. I mean, I don't know if this is going to lead to a divorce because I don't know if Alexander Vindman disagrees with what Rachel Vindman said. She puts out, no ears were harmed. Carry on with your Sunday afternoon. Taking a little bit of flack about an hour and 13 minutes later. She says, sorry, you're triggered. Ha, ha, ha. I mean, no, I'm not. I don't care a little bit. Then there was a second one here. Oh, yes. This is her apology. I have deleted my tweet. This is this morning, an hour and a half ago. I have deleted my tweet. It was flippant and political violence. She got the call from Alex Soros. Hey, Vindman, if you want your hubby to have any chance here, you're going to go back and take back what you said there. I mean, we don't mind trying to do this, not once but twice, and maybe we'll try again. But we need to be a little bit more low key in this. All right, so go back and say the words, ma'am. All right, political violence. Those are the words. Say them. I have deleted my tweet. It was flippant and political violence is a serious issue. Whether it's aimed at a former president, the media, immigrants, or political, quote, enemies, end quote. And every incident should be addressed appropriately if we want to change the tenor of our political discourse. Can you imagine the forked tongue? I mean, I know it's a biblical term now, and I've been listening to Jordan Peterson's interpretation of the Bible, biblical passages, and it's amazing. It's actually quite spiritual to jog in God's land, listening to interpretations of the Bible, which, go back to human experience over 5,000 years. Can you imagine the forked tongue with which this scoundrel of scoundrels speaks? And I say this, this is not to, I like to put on blast in terms of raising awareness as to what a filthy, violent, condoning scoundrel Vindman is. But nobody should harass in any realm that borders on unlawful verbal harassment. Nobody should threaten. And nobody should do what they do. And people say, well, how do you expect to beat the demon if you don't adopt the demon's tactics? And I'll say, well, you never beat the monster if you become the monster. You just replace the monster. And also, it's not going to do you any good, because you do anything remotely stupid, they'll come down on you like they came down on all the January 6ers. And what have you accomplished other than ruining your own life and giving them the fodder that they need to justify more of their tyrannical behavior? So don't do it out of courtesy and respect to me. But I will commentate on this absolute atrocious scoundrel of a human. I've deleted my tweet. It was flippant. And political violence is a serious issue. It was so serious, you didn't give a shit about it yesterday. It was so serious, you mocked the fact that Trump nearly had his head blown off in front of live television. You mocked the fact that Corey Comparator was murdered. You mocked the fact that Copenhagen, I always forget their names, and I feel bad doing it, that the other two who were shot were grievously wounded. You mocked it. And then when you were taking shit for having mocked it, you doubled down and you said, ha ha, F you. Oh, but now you got the call from somebody, Vindman. You come out and say, oh yeah, it's a serious issue. Whether it's aimed at a former president, the media. Oh, so now it's Trump, he's the victim, but Trump is also the bad man, because Trump does it to the media. Trump does it to immigrants. Trump does it to his political enemies. This is the terrorist apology. We strongly condemn violence on both sides after they finish blowing up your bus. We strongly condemn political violence on both sides after we try to take your president's head off a second time. Don't swear. So that's Vindman. I guess, let me see if it's her husband. Alexander Vindman, Congress. Yeah, I think Vindman for Congress. Here, guys. In case you didn't know, she didn't apologize because she felt bad about anything. She apologized because Eugene Vindman. So hold on. Eugene Vindman. Let me see here. Eugene Vindman, wife. My wife. Eugene Vindman. Eugene Vindman, his wife. Vindman for Congress. Wife of Trump impeachment witness. Here we go. This is now, who is it? Is it Alex? So that is the wife of so it's the wife of Alexander Vindman. Her husband, a candidate for Virginia 7, should be condemned immediately. All right, so I guess they're both mistaking Alexander Vindman for his brother. Well, maybe I've made the same mistake then. So this is Alexander Vindman with his wife, Rachel. All right, so the Vindman brothers are twins. Okay, this is why it gets confusing. The Vindman brothers are twins. Eugene is running for Congress. Alex is the scoundrel who stabbed Trump in the back, disclosed privilege stuff. No, Viva, that's the brother-in-law. Okay, good. I got the chat's correcting me. It changes nothing. It changes nothing, because it's not like she might have gotten in even more trouble, because the brother's like, what is your effing wife doing? Tell her to shut her mouth. I'm running for Congress, and we can't have people mocking the failed assassination attempts. It doesn't matter. They're twins. And she obviously got the call. Apologize. After, doing what they do in the media, mocking it. Oh, they didn't even get his ear this time. Like wait for the jokes about this guy to come. And which brings us into this guy. Who the hell is this guy? There's some amazing stuff going online right now, and like deep rabbit holes as they discover who this individual is. Actually, before I do that, let me see here. She's the sister-in-law to the House candidate, says the Marcus. Hey, good. Yeah, I got that mixed up, but it's of, not to say it's the mistake is inconsequential. They're both scum, says Piran54. That's not the one I wanted to bring up. It's inconsequential because the reason for which she's obviously having to apologize is because it's going to negatively impact someone's run for Congress. Something about having your brother marrying someone who condones political violence. She got to come out the next day and say, sorry, yeah, when I condoned it, I actually don't condone it. And yeah, they are twins, everybody. Okay. The rabbit hole today. Now, the thing is this, I don't want to go too far. I don't know if we can watch the entire 10 minutes. Everyone should watch it. This is the alleged guy. This is the guy that they've arrested. They've disclosed his name, and this is what was on a social media account. Apparently he went to, look, Laura Loomer has not burnt me, but because I didn't retweet it, but she's gotten 3 stories wrong, big stories that unfortunately do harm to her reputation. So I have to approach everything with the requisite degree of skepticism before commentating on it. And I remember the 3. that she got wrong were the big ones. Medical emergency of Biden on Air Force One. There was another one related. Oh, that he's on death's bed and someone's going to confirm that he's dead tomorrow. And that explosion that occurred at the border of the car was a terrorist car going down to the Macy's parade for Thanksgiving for an act of terrorism, when it was in fact totally the opposite. It was actually going to Canada and had nothing to do with terrorism. It was an old couple that had a fancy car that had a pedal, got stuck, and then crashed and blew up. So three big things that you'll remember. I will always, unfortunately, remember when I see something that happens to turn out to be true. I still have to double check and verify. She screen grabbed this. It's the delete. She's downloaded the archive video because I'm sure fake news Trump haters over at Newsweek will try to delete this and cover up the fact that they knew about this radicalized mercenary 2 years ago. So check this out.
Please tell me who you are and why are you here?
I'm 56 from the U.S. From North Carolina originally. So live in Hawaii now. So flew all the way from Hawaii here. So the question as far as why I'm here, to me, a lot of the other conflicts are gray, but this conflict is definitely black and white. This is about good versus evil. This is a storybook. Any movie we've ever watched, this is definitely evil against good. I mean, we're battling a situation here where, the Ukrainians and the rest of the world are caring and kind and generous and unselfish and take care of one another. And it's just a matter of, we need to stand up for that. That is the most important thing in the world, is just to show human beings that we're kind and we're caring and that we take care of one another and that the world is united so that we feed each other and make sure that, we all move forward as one collective whole unit. So, we feel the pain of one country's failure and their conflicts, and we enjoy the successes of other countries that are doing good, and we all work together. And for some reason, Russia does not grasp this concept that we're all one unit, and we have to get along and work together and be normal human beings. This is 2022. We have to work together. It seems asinine that we have a leader in a country that does not understand the concept of being unselfish and being generous.
It's amazing. I've said it repeatedly and will say it over and over again because it is something of a rule of human nature. Just the kind of guy that MK Ultra is looking for. We're going to get to that. That's from Piran54. It's funny. I'm not looking for your comments, Piran, but they are catching my. They're catching my. I can't do it because the chat's moving too fast. The dude, clearly not all there. We're going to get to who is now disavowing his alleged potential unilateral declaration of affiliation. But it is the people who struggle the most internally. And I would say the people who subconsciously or even consciously hate themselves the most, that have to come out and virtue signal with how good they are and how peace and loving they are. It's like, it's always the psycho lefty liberal woman who has the bumper sticker, coexist. And then you're like, all right, but I'm voting for Trump. And like, you fascist. I mean, I'm thinking of literally there was a video of this guy interviewing a woman at a Kamala Harris thing. She's like talking love and tolerance. And then he says something remotely pro Trump and like, it's like the switch. Who is that triggered woman? Triggered woman Trump, where she's like, oh, she's all nice. And then it's the this is her right here. This is the visual of the people who have peace and love in their profile and they tweet the most vitriolic shit imaginable. Does anyone know the background of this infamous triggered feminist meme? Can't find it. Know your meme. Look at that. But the best is when they do the side by side. The first one's like, oh. So I mean, this guy is the embodiment of that. Can we all just get along, love, peace? First of all, spouting off every MSM talking point, every MSM headline, every MSM propaganda phrase about the war in Ukraine. Good versus evil, line in the sand, democracy on the ballot. He had democracy on the ballot in at least 10 of his, I shouldn't say that, at least 4 of his tweets. And he's off in Ukraine from Hawaii, volunteering or apparently affiliated, an asset of, I don't know if it's Azov in particular, but Legion, this Ukrainian pro-Ukrainian entity that I don't know what they do exactly because I'm on a pretty sharp learning curve here as well.
But there's a part of this I want to come back to. Laura Loomer, the tweet. It's at the 7.5 minute mark, give or take. I mean, this guy's obviously not well. I mean, I don't know what he did for a living, where he got his money, which is gonna have to be some questions to be answered. Where did he get his money? There was one video where he was complaining about trying to buy vests for Ukrainian soldiers, and he asks people for $5 and they say no, and he gets dismayed with humanity. I mean, I don't know what mortgage he had on his property, which seems to be his in Hawaii, worth $900,000. Where the hell is this guy getting his money from? He's clearly no longer working construction in North Carolina, which is where he's allegedly from. Where is he getting his money? How the hell is he traveling this often to Ukraine? How did he procure a firearm in America, given his alleged apparent criminal history? But here.
To help, to donate, and
up on the right side of this equation.
So you are working with the International Legion.
Yes.
And you are
working with the
trying
International
to convince
Legion.
people to help, to donate, and to join.
Yeah.
My final question is, what would you say to the people in order to convince them to join the International Legion, or to donate for it, or to be involved in the humanitarian aid to Ukraine?
Right. It's just extremely important, the whole thing. As far as joining the military, yes, if you have some military experience or know people with military experience, encouraging them to come and fight. We have units all over the place. So,
we have units all over the place.
Issues initially, but we've got so many units available to us: Georgian, Crimean, Ukrainian, Territorial Defense, Foreign Legion. We have, so many paramilitary groups. I put a 74-year-old Japanese guy in a unit. So, we have girls in units.
He put a Japanese 74-year-old guy in a unit when apparently he got refused because he had no military experience and he was 56 or 58 at the time. No, 56 at the time. Just listen to what he's saying. He's talking about seemingly working with the Legion, capital L Legion. His words, interviewed by Newsweek.
So we have two girls that are in the unit up the street. So any gender, any age, any skill level to no skill level. But yeah, if you want to fight, come here and see me, and I'll put you in a unit so you can go fight. But regardless of that, we should have thousands upon thousands of people standing here with the Ukrainians. This Maiden Square, Independence Square, we should have millions of people in this square, filling the square from every country around the world. And while we don't, I don't understand. I'm here every day with all the flags from all the supporting countries, with the memorials for the people that have died. And, I've had several people come, but just a handful,
Hey, it's getting angry. People aren't.
It blows my mind that I'm standing here alone without thousands of people from every country, from Asia, from Africa, from Australia, from Canada, from everywhere in South America, every place.
Europe.
Europe, everywhere. We need everybody here. If you have no skills, just come. We need to be cheerleaders. Just being here and saying, hey, I support the Ukrainians, and I support human rights, and I support good and
good
generosity and caring and kindness and altruism. And it's just, we need
that's
to show.
That's what the Zelensky regime represents. That's what the corrupt Ukrainian government represents, after all. Good, kindness, benevolence, all things holy. It's not like 3 years ago the media was reporting on corruption in Ukraine, the far-right extremists in Ukraine. It's not like they were talking about that. Human trafficking in Ukraine. Just like that, overnight, it becomes as unquestionably good as the jibby jab. And this guy, if he is not brainwashed via MK Ultra levels brainwashed, I mean, he is. But bottom line, even if it only comes from the media, this is MK Ultra level brainwashing. And I am now absorbing through osmosis and making my own the theory of Mark Grobert from America's Untold Stories with Eric Hunley. This is TDS is an iteration of MK Ultra mass brainwashing. And how do you do it? Day in and day out media propaganda, which is itself an apparatus of intelligence. If you don't know that, then you don't know what Operation Mockingbird is, and it never ended. It might have just become almost voluntary. This guy is repeating the rubbish that the mainstream media has been repeating for the last 2 years. in order to justify continued endless support, siphoning off hundreds of billions of dollars for their own corrupt financial interests. Okay, fine. What he said there is extremely interesting. And if you go through his Twitter feed, he's talking about how he's been in Ukraine. He's in Ukraine, talking about how he's working with Legion. And what's amazing is, and this is, we're going to get into a little bit of gossip, I guess, because there have been threats of lawsuits following statements that have been made online. Jack Posobiec, and I'll get to the tweet first. This guy wrote a book. Okay, this guy here, Ruth, wrote a book called Ukraine's Unwinnable War. We'll get to it in a second. A book or a manifesto. I mean, I don't know what the difference is anymore. This is coming from Rahim, who is an editor-in-chief at the Nat Pulse, the National Pulse, best-selling author, political advisor, all-around refusenik, Brexit OG, Trump since 2015. And he quotes, where is this from? From an article. It says, the dispute goes to the heart of who can be trusted to speak for and raise money for the Legion. Mr. Nance, we're going to get to this in a second, has left Ukraine but continues fundraising with a new group of allies. One of them, Ben Lackey, is a former Legion member. He told his fellow volunteers that he was once a Marine and wrote on LinkedIn that he had most recently been an assistant manager at Longhorn Steakhouse. In fact, the Pentagon said he had no military experience and he worked as a server at the steakhouse said. Okay. In an interview, Mr. Lackey said he had lied about being a U.S. Marine so he could join the Legion. With Legion growth stalling, Ryan Ruth, that's the would-be assassin, a former construction worker from, I should say, the alleged would-be assassin. A lot of qualifiers there. Ryan Ruth, a former construction worker from Greensboro, North Carolina, is seeking recruits from among Afghan soldiers who fled the Taliban. Mr. Ruth, who spent several months in Ukraine last year, said he planned to move them, in some cases illegally, from Pakistan and Iran to Ukraine. He said dozens had expressed interest. We can probably purchase some passports through Pakistan since it's such a corrupt country, he said in an interview from Washington. Alarm bells, anybody? There's one word in there that I'm sort of picking up on more this morning than I did when I saw this yesterday. Ruth spent 7 months in Ukraine, said he planned to move them, in some cases illegally, from Pakistan, Iran to Iran. Before the first assassination attempt, or I should say after the first assassination attempt, we were notified of a pre-existing, credible threat from Iran to try to kill Trump. Now you've got this guy, Ruth, who was just caught with the weapon we'll get to in a bit, whether or not it's an AK-47 or an SRS, I forget what the type is, with a GoPro, ostensibly either to record his assassination or assassination attempt, or to live stream it. And by the way, and who else records live streams and then posts the videos of their atrocities online afterwards for the world to see? I mean, we just saw that on October 7th. Iran. So there's at least a connection. Now, it might not exist. It might just be the words of an unhinged lunatic who happens to be in Ukraine, who happens to have been featured in an Azov video, or at least appeared in an Azov video. We'll get there in a second. But you've got Ryan Ruth, who's ostensibly recruiting for Legion. And then you got Nance. Now, Nance is the guy that was in Ukraine incoming. He's the incoming guy. Let me see if I can find that video real fast. Let's see, Twitter. Malcolm Nance incoming. Malcolm, if you haven't seen it, it's actually, it might be, I say, comic relief in a tragic way. Malcolm Nance. Was the word he said incoming? Or was it, give me 5 seconds. I want to see if I can, in Ukraine. What was the word he was timing? And he had his watch on and everybody was making fun of the video afterwards. Well, here, I'll bring this one up, and while the chat tells me if they can find the word so I can help find it more easily. Here, look at this. This is Malcolm Nance. Oh, I'm not sharing it. That's why.
My
Okay,
friends.
great. Yeah.
And
Let me try
well,
that
as you
again.
know, I spent quite a bit of time here in the pre-war period. And when the invasion happened, I had friends who were in Donetsk, who were in the Ukrainian army, who were writing to us and telling us, we're not going to survive tonight. We've been hit 500 times. These are graduates of Defense Language Institute. These were my friends. And, as the more I saw of the war going on, the more I thought, I'm done talking. All right. It's time to take action here. So about a month ago, I joined the International Legion here in Ukraine, and I am here to help this country fight, what essentially is a war of extermination. This is an existential war, and Russia has brought it to these people, and they are mass murdering civilians. And there are people here like me who are here to do something about it. Well, as you know, I spent quite a bit of time here.
Let me just do one thing. So this is Malcolm Nance. We're going to get further into this in a second. But what was the video that he was out there? Oh man, he was on the street and looking at his watch. Source, I won't be able to find it. If anyone in our locals community can get it, that way I can sure find it. Anyhow, bottom line, that was an article where the now alleged would-be assassin talking about his affiliation with Legion, and Jack Posobiec. Did I bring up this here? Is this one? No, that's not the right one. Hold on 1 second. Sorry. Jack Posobiec tweets that out with a comment, and that looks like things might get litigious, people. Like this. Oh, yes. Here. Jack Poso, an associate of Malcolm Nance, tried to kill President Trump. So that's the tweet. And boy, that escalated quickly. I'll show you where that went to. An associate of Malcolm Nance. Based on this, I mean, we're going to see how fast Legion and Legion-related entities and individuals are trying to dissociate themselves now from Ruth. But that's what Poso tweeted out. And then I take no position on any of this because I didn't. It was a rather strong reaction. I found out. I thought to be Malcolm and Nance. Well, he said, "Call your lawyer, Jack." Now, why can't I find that? Oh, anyways, I may not have that tweet, but it says, "Call your lawyer, Jack." And I'm thinking, like, first of all, that escalated quickly. When I read associate, that's a very, very loose term. And from that article, from that interview, the dude is explaining a pretty distinct connection to Legion. So now listen to this. This is, I'll steel man both sides here, people, because the bottom line is, there is not a snowball's chance in hell that this guy being the alleged would-be assassin, was not known to authorities. There's not a snowball's chance in hell. 2 years ago, giving interviews on Newsmax or Newsweek, whichever one that was, about being in Ukraine, recruiting people to fight, possibly illegally. Now, there's I come across everything here. You got King Jack Strong. I'm not sure who this is. I came across it in my morning research. Veteran of Ukraine's International Legion, who had a tweet from June 21st. And there's a whole thread to this, so I might have to open it so we can open it up. Who wrote, warning about Ryan Ruth. This is June 21st, 2024. This is not June 2022, when Ruth is, by his own statement, in Kyiv, or in Ukraine, trying to recruit soldiers to fight and bringing them in illegally from wherever, Iran. But this guy said June, what was it? June, July, August, September, 3 months ago. Warning about Ryan Ruth. He is not, this is well before the shooting. So, after the fact, it'll be obviously motivated for whatever the reason. This is before the shooting, when people might have either gotten wind that this guy's crazy or he is actually something else and they need to dissociate themselves from him. Warning about Ryan Ruth. He is not and has never been associated with the International Legion or the Ukrainian Armed Forces at all. He is not and has never been a Legion recruiter. He is misrepresenting himself and lying to many people. Now, hold on a second. Let me see. I want to get this out so I can go down the entire thread on this. This is why okay, here, let's just do it. Okay, I'm going to bring it up. So that was part one. Then you got part two. Ruth, this is again back before the shooting, the alleged incident, or not back before the incident, June 21. Ruth is currently posting on Facebook about getting Afghanistan citizens into the International Legion. He told the New York Times in 2023 that he wanted to get soldiers into Ukraine illegally. Oh, it's another one. I'll bring that up and I'll come back to that in a second. This is what Jack Posobiec cited. Okay. Ryan Ruth has many public profile posts about getting soldiers into Ukraine in 2023, 2024. He has no authority to act on behalf of Ukraine and ignores laws about visas. Ruth is either human trafficking, scamming people, or attempting to break as many countries' laws as he can, trying to smuggle people into Ukraine to fight. This is unethical, unprofessional, and unacceptable. Worse, he is doing this by insisting he is not helping Ukraine. There could be reasons why, at the time, King Jack Strong felt compelled to disavow what Ruth is either lying about doing or actually doing, but doing illegally. It's unclear because we're sort of going back and forth here. He's lying. He's not able to do what he says he is. He's lying to a lot of people. But if he's doing it, it's illegal. My inkling is that he was actually doing this for some time, and then it might have gotten exposed, and then they have to disavow breaking international law in their combat war with Russia. But that's taken with a grain of salt because I know nothing. Okay, he's either human trafficking. Other issues: Ruth has posted soldiers' phone numbers on websites without permission, given out recruiters' phone numbers to people without permission, manipulates people to breaking the laws, avoid any contact with Ruth as he misrepresents what he can do legally. I served in the International Legion for 2 years, and I've told Ruth many times since 2022 he is not helping, and what he's doing is illegally. He doesn't listen. And then we start getting bombarded with the current stuff. So that's what is going on now, is that there's a very big push for everyone associated with the Ukraine movement to disavow this guy who literally, allegedly, would have killed President Trump if he had gotten the opportunity. I come back to the underlying point here. It doesn't matter if they were trying to get him out because he was just a nutcase lunatic for the last 2+ years in Ukraine. He was known to authorities, and there is no way that he wasn't. Period. If what he was saying publicly, giving interviews to the New York Times. Oh, hold on a second. Yeah, sorry, guys. Can't forget the New York Times. Here, check this out. Okay, well, I'm going to go archive, and we're going to go here. Stolen Valor, the U.S. volunteer in Ukraine who lie, the U.S. volunteers who lie, waste, and bicker. People who would not be allowed anywhere near the battlefield in U.S.-led war are active on the Ukrainian front with ready access to American weapons. Okay. Oh, now my thing is freezing. Give it a second. Ah oui donc. Oh, qu'est-ce qui se passe ici avec le archive? Tabarnache. Okay, give it a second, people. Look at the mesmerizing color. Okay. Okay, so let's go like this. And now we're just going to go over to find the word. With the Legion growing, okay, we did that. So this is just going back to the portion that we clipped before. So that the New York Times reports on him back in 2023. Newsmax or Newsweek, whichever one it was, Newsweek, does that interview in 2022. This guy's been on this for years, tweeting, tagging. Do I need to bring? I won't bring up the tweets that I screen grabbed. Tweeting at the president, tweeting, all of the propaganda media talking points. There's not a snowball's chance in hell that they didn't know who this guy was, and he ends up trying to set up a shielded sniper position on Trump's golf course, knowing that Trump was golfing that day when it was not in his public schedule. And we are led to either pontificate, as we started this show off, lone gunman or part of a broader conspiracy. And I know where I'd be putting my money if I had to. Now, hold on one second before we get too far behind any of this here. Let me see here. I'm going to bring this up. Okay. I'm going to do some chats here so we can take a bit of a break from the show. Both of the shooters' handler is through the propaganda production companies. Someone needs to investigate this connection. That is from the Modern Stoic in our locals community. Then we got over on Rumble. Viva, I appreciate how everything's focused on attack at Trump. But did you see last night's 60-minute story on January 6th? Full of lies and propaganda. Might I humbly suggest a line-by-line debunking of it? I'll do that. I mean, I have no problem doing that. Oh, that dog is scratching at the door. 1 second. Please, Louise, get in. Let's go. It's an amazing thing how quickly dogs learn bad habits. Now the dog has learned that she can whine to get out and then scratch at the door to get back in, interrupting the flow of my mojo. Let me screen grab this and I'm going to go. I haven't watched it yet, obviously, because I've been talking about this. Sammy, that was from Gas Station Sushi 26. Do not eat gas station sushi, people. Sammy, do these neocons and leftists really think that they're going to be saved to live the good life after selling out their own countrymen? It never ends well for them. Seriously, it's like they never watched a movie before. Now, once the agitators are no longer needed, they are, I was going to say metaphorically, but they're the ones lined up on the wall. I mean, that's how it works. And we got King of Biltong in the house. Biltong is one of the most protein-dense foods in the world, packed with B12, zinc, iron, creatine, and more. Need a healthy snack? Get yours at www.biltongusa.com. Viva 10 for 10% off. Game now available. Oh, game like venison and deer. BiltongUSA.com. It's absolutely delicious and the best stuff. It is truly delicious. All right. The weapon. I should not say the weapon. Let me correct myself. And this is not to placate anybody. It's because it is not a weapon. It's a firearm. When I had Dexter Taylor on, the guy who's now serving 10 years in federal prison because he assembled his own ghost gun, quote unquote, and we talk every now and again. It's like, it's weird. I was talking to my kid. And I was like, he's like, you ever known anyone who's been in prison? I was like, dude, at this point in time now, I can name you like 10 offhand who I have regular communications with. It's a wild world getting a call from the Coxsackie Correctional Facility. And I know I'm pronouncing Coxsackie wrong, but I'm going to pronounce it Coxsackie because it's hilarious to pronounce it that way. Dexter Taylor, currently serving 10 years for assembling his own firearm, Coxsackie Correctional Facility up in upstate New York. And we talk frequently. And when I had him on the channel before he was convicted and sentenced, he referred to it as a weapon. I said, it's a firearm. And he says, we'll call it what it is. It's okay. All that to say, the firearm at issue here. There's discussion as to whether or not it is an AK-47 or another one. I'm going to have to go find the tweet from earlier today because I can't find it. Let me see here. Replies. And we'll see if I got an explanation. I think I did get an explanation as to what the difference was. Here, this is it right here. So this is from another great account that I follow on Twitter. So I'm going to just make sure that I don't have my DMs showing. CanCon Actual. Everyone check him out. CanCon Marine Election Denier. Quote, writer, Gateway Pundit, podcast, Rumble, Badlands Media, rumble.com, CanCon, CanCon. Opinions are my own, as are everyone's opinions, typically. Okay. He said, I know I can't be the first person to have noticed this, but is that even an AK-47? Where's the pistol grip? Only pistol grip I know is from that Rage Against the Machine song. Pistol grip, pump with the... Okay, I'm not sure what this rifle, even SVDs have de facto pistol grip, is with the compressed cropped photo, but I'm 99% certain it's not an AK-47. And then I had to come in and I just said, I asked what it was. I'm an idiot because I don't know what the difference is. Ah oui, donc, c'est où ma réponse à sa question? Ma question à sa question. Oh, come on. I asked what it was because I don't know what the difference is. Okay, anyways, I'll ask the chat. I don't know what the difference is between an AK and an SVD. Someone had explained that an SVD sounds like now I'm thinking of an Eminem rap song, an SVD. Someone had said that an SVD was for longer range, which is very interesting. Here we go. This is it. Okay. So I said, what's the difference between an AK and an SVD? And the answer that I got, and chat can go wild and inform me and educate me. The SKS usually has a longer barrel length and is typically used for longer ranges, even though they both use 7.62 cartridges. So I guess I'm not an expert, by the way. And then we got a video that I haven't, or an article that I haven't read. The longer ranges might make sense, given that if this guy's setting up at a golf course, he might need longer range. I don't know. I don't know what longer range is anyhow, but that's the explanation. Now in the chat, because I want to go pick the brains of the chat. SBR, Scary Black Rifle. SKS is a lot more accurate. Michael Pack NW says that. See, let me just bring it up so we can see it, because it's nice to see our comments here. No, that's not the right comment. Come on, man. Now I lost it. So more accurate. That's my understanding from the very, very limited explanation that was given, which might make even more sense as to the fact that the media runs with an AK-47 because it's scary and it fits their political agenda. The reality might be much more counter to the narrative of a lone gunman and lax gun laws, and might be something of a conspiracy of a dude who may not have fit into the Ukrainian army because he was too old and not, no military experience, but had something that was a little bit more accurate for the purposes that he was setting up there for. Longer barrel equals better accuracy, says Faithless. Yeah, that much I understand. I watch a lot of Kentucky ballistics because my kid loves it, and that much I understood. AK are Russian. That's Corn Macabre. So we'll find out. But I got to tell you, all signs point to this not being a lone gunman. Now, from Time Magazine, because I just go back. You go back. It's first of all, they also got community noted, like the biatches that they deserve to get community noted for. The suspect arrested in relation to the shooting at Trump's golf course in Florida on Sunday has been identified as Ryan Ruth, a 58-year-old with unclear political ideology, a criminal record, and a history of praising Iran and supporting Ukraine. Unclear political ideology. Ruth recently voted in person during the state's Democratic primary in March 2024. He also donated to Act Blue in 2019 and 2020. You know who else donated to Act Blue in 2019, 2020? Crooks. Am I going crazy, people? I'm not going crazy because I know that. Oh, I might be going crazy, but it doesn't mean I'm wrong. Hold on. Crooks. I think Crooks donated to Act Blue in that year too. Crooks donated to Act Blue 2020. Yeah, hold on. Do this in real time because I'm connecting dots as we stream live. Did the gunman make a donation to Democrats? Here's what the records show. This is from CBS News Fact Check. After the FBI raided the gunman who shot the former president, Matthew Cooks, yada, 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 he made a $15 donation to Act Blue via Act Blue. When was it? He was a registered Republican who had previously donated to Act Blue. These idiots don't even put the words together in their own head. When did he donate? In fact, the federal election records show that Bethel Park address on a $15 donation is the zip code where the gunman, but municipal. When was it? Crooks made the donation on January 20, 2021. All right, so we're close enough in terms of proximity. Oh, look at that. Brickhouse Nutrition, Field of Greens. They're getting 2 ads in one show. Get your Field of Greens, people. Let me close that down. So yeah, roughly the same age, roughly the same era, both of these men are donating to Act Blue or through Act Blue. History of praising Iran and supporting Ukraine. All right. And in case you had any doubts as to his political affiliation, Time Magazine. I know it's like, what do we make of that little bumper sticker right there? Come on, his political affiliations are unclear. He's sitting there tweeting at Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, tweeting democracy is on the ballot over and over and over again. He's got a Biden-Harris sticker allegedly on his truck. It might be someone else's truck. Maybe someone lent him their truck. Maybe someone put the bumper sticker on the back because they knew that he was a raging Trump supporter, and that would really piss him off. Political leaning is unclear. It's unclear if you're an idiot. It's unclear if you're a propagandist liar. It's unclear because Time Magazine are both. Oh, lordy. All right, you know what we're doing? Now we're going over. It's been a little while. We're going to go over to Rumble. Everyone who's currently watching on CommieTube, thank you for being here. Come on over to link to Rumble. We got a lot more to link up here. Hold on, I just saw my name highlighted here. Viva, get Brandon Herrera on. Absolute. Oh, we were in touch actually, Brandon and I. So that's coming from really now. I'll make that happen because we were supposed to make that happen and it just didn't happen. But everyone who's watching on CommieTube, link to Rumble. Come, and on your way out, make sure to subscribe and turn on your notifications on YouTube. And if you want to come directly to vivabarneslaw.locals.com, here's the link to that, link to Locals. And if you're on there and you want to support us, $10 a month, $100 a year, if you are able to. Oh, there were two super chats, Rumble rants, whatever they are. It's an SKS. This is from KC985. SVD and AK have the mag well near the trigger housing. SKS has mag well further forward, like the one in the photo. I am a gun expert, and I will screen grab that, put that to the internet to make sure that everybody knows, because that explanation makes a ton of sense. And I did want to do one thing, because I know that I screenshotted a last super chat that I didn't get to. Thomas Crooks and Ryan Ruth were both in BlackRock commercials. They must investigate BlackRock. The chances of that's like winning the lottery twice. Well, that's going to bring us into the next segment. I don't know if it was a BlackRock commercial, but I'll show you where Ruth was featured in a promotional video. So everybody, get off of the commie tube. It's at 1.6 thousand. Let's see it drop down somewhat before we come over to Rumble, Viva Frei, vivabarneslaw.locals.com, and oh, it's morally remiss of me. Viva Frei, get merch if you are so inclined. Everybody needs a shirt. And if you want to support a channel and get a kick-ass shirt, you get the fight shirt, you get the fight trucker hat. This is my favorite layout ever. But also, I'm telling you people, I'm not getting religious, but I am seeing the value in it, and I know whose side I know whose company I want to keep. Get your Ephesians 6:11 mug, and it says, "Put on the full armor of God so that you can take your stand against the devil's schemes." Ephesians 6:11. And Trump was shot at 6:11 on July 13, 2024. A day that we will always remember where we were when it happened. Saw a bumper sticker here in Florida the other day that read, "Turn Florida blue." Who was that coming from? That was from Jackie F. All right, come on, YouTube, satisfy my neuroses. Get the numbers down. Good. We're ending on. Is there a way that I can end it specifically? Oh, there is. I can just go like this. Oh, looky, I can do that. Okay, I'm gonna see if this works in order to end it on YouTube alone without going through Studio. I can go here on YouTube, go to live. Okay, let's see if this works. Go here so we can keep it up on Twitter as well. And end stream. Ending it. YouTube, Viva Frei on Rumble, vivabarneslaw.locals.com. Ending the stream now. All right, now, talking about the video, people. Talking about the video where we saw Ryan.